Hi everybody, this is part 2 in the series of your new dog and the rule of 3. And that means the first 3 days, the first 3 weeks, the first 3 months. And what are your expectations and how do you go about making this the most successful transition for your dog into your house? Okay, so I'm going to try to make it real for you. So I'm going to start by telling a story, and I think this will kind of help to understand where I'm going. Several years ago, my nephew came to live with us for his last semester in school. And the first day he came in, he asked me what the rules were. So I thought to myself, he's family. I've known him for 20-some years. That's an odd question. But he explained. He was with a family, not foster family, but a host family, I guess you would call it, and he was uncomfortable not knowing what the rules were. So I'm gathering that he found out by doing it wrong and then having somebody tell him what the expectations are. So, being the really great nephew that he is, he asked me first what my expectations were. So, thought about that and said, well, in my house, the only things that are important to me is that you say good morning, good night, hello, goodbye. You pick up after yourself. You put your dishes in the sink or the dishwasher. You tell me when you take the last of something so I know to get it at the store. And you make your bed. Those are the only requirements in my house for somebody. But we are human, so we speak English. And we understand each other by having a short, simple conversation so that he knows how to be right in the first place. But you bring a dog in, you got an entirely different species. We don't speak the same language. And while maybe you've already fallen in love with that dog that you're bringing home, whether it be a foster or whether it's going to be a permanent dog, that dog isn't in love with you. He doesn't know you. Think about that. Think about that story and think about the fact that we're dealing with a different species. He has no clue what your expectations are. He doesn't know where can he go, what rooms can he go in, is the furniture he gets on, is the rug his, is the stuff on the floor, is it taboo, are those the only thing on the floor are things that he actually could put in his mouth? Where does he eat? Where does he drink? Where does he sleep? Where does he go to the bathroom? Are you kind? Are you abusive? He doesn't know any of that stuff, okay? Think about that when we were all dating, likes. Anyway, think about the getting to know you process. You don't know what you can say, what you can't say. You don't know what the acceptable behaviors are. You're ill at ease oftentimes. Okay? It is the same way when we bring a dog into our house. They just don't know. So, in the first video, we talked about the first 3 days, which is really just all about comfort, safe space, food, water, going outside the potty. And pretty much not smothering your dog, okay? That was the first 3 days. That was just getting acclimated and decompressing. Regardless of where you get your dog, whether it's another family, whether it's a rescue, whether it's a shelter, whether it's a breeder, those dogs had their routine wherever they came from. That was unknown to them. When they come to you, everything is totally, absolutely unknown. They don't know how to act with you, what's okay, what's not. So many of them are kind of subdued when they first come in because they're learning their way. And for especially maybe mill dogs, some breeder dogs that were kept in a pen or a cage, crate, and that's not the majority, but let's just say they came from there. They have no clue what the big wide world is like. They might not have ever seen sunshine. They may never have set foot on grass. They may have never been in a home, okay? all that stuff is totally, absolutely overwhelming to them. A slamming door, a blender, the dishwasher, the noise of your washer and dryer, normal voices, a radio, things that you and I just, we hear them every day. We don't think anything of them. Taking your garbage bag and fluffing it out to put it in your garbage can. Some dogs go, oh my God, they freak. Because they've never heard that before. They don't know that all those things aren't going to eat or kill them. Okay? So, in the next 3 weeks while they're with you, that's still a getting to know you period. So, the big thing that I hope that I help you with today is your expectations. What you need to do for management, what you need to do as far as showing your dog the right things, rewarding them for every right thing. If they do something that you prefer they don't do, to divert them to something they can do for which they could be rewarded. Okay? This will set the tone for forever. This will set the tone for however long you have them as a foster, or forever if they're with you forever. So we'll talk about just life skills. Every house is different. What I expect from my dogs in my house is different than what you might expect. So I'm just going to talk about a few general ideas, and you will make them your own as far as what you do in your house. Okay, here we go. Okay, in no particular order, just as I was thinking of them and wanted to tell you about them, here goes. So, in these next 3 weeks, these are the things that you're going to do. You are going to start introducing the skills that your dog is going to need for a lifetime. We're going to do it very low key, no pressure. So I'm going to give you some ideas, but how you live in your house is maybe different than how I live in mine, okay? So I have other dogs, so it's easier for a new dog to learn from my dogs. But one of the things I do is teach wait at the door. And that's the door to my fenced-in backyard. But some dogs will hang back. If they're kind of shy, you might need a leash to guide them through. If they're the kind that will rush, or that would rush through, I teach wait until I open the door and tell you okay. And I have a video on that. Some things that I would just like you to do as a way of showing your dog that you are a really great thing. Anytime that they are in their crate or their pen, you walk by, toss a treat. No, don't go over there and pet, don't fuss, don't do whatever. Just walk by, toss a treat, okay? If your dog is laying on his dog bed and being a quiet, nice dog out with you where you're at, toss a treat. You can toss it from where you're at. You can kind of nonchalantly walk by and toss it. So what you, on a very low level, are teaching your dog is that the approach of humans means really good stuff. Pretty benign way of teaching, but it's a great thing to do for this introductory period. In my house, I want my dogs to learn that foot wiping is okay when they come in. So when it's rainy or they're muddy, I can wipe their feet. So get a soft towel and very gently just wipe a foot. Give a treat. Wipe the second foot. Give a treat. It's okay if your dog doesn't take the treats. Maybe dropping him on the floor, they will more readily take it rather than your hand. If they don't take it at all, that's okay too. Pretty subtle here, but it's the act of giving. You offered even if they didn't take it. Over time, they eventually will. Psychologically, that's a big thing. You offered, okay? Introduce them to a brush and comb. I always let my animals sniff at first, give a treat. Do that a couple times. Then I might do a couple soft brushes, give a treat. Don't plan on getting the whole job done, okay? That's not the goal here. The goal here is just to introduce them to real life things that those skills that they're going to need for a lifetime. Make it low key, make it gentle. As always, if your dog walks away, let him walk away. If it's possible for you to get on the floor, and that's much easier for most dogs, if it's possible for you to get on the floor and they'll come towards you and you could offer it, give a treat, take a brush, give a treat. If they walk away, just sit there. Chances are the dog might come back and investigate again, okay? In which case your dog has said to you, I'm willing to try again. If you take a couple more brushes and they walk away, they walk away. You're building a huge bond of trust here where your dog is learning that when they say, yeah, I'm not okay with that right now, you've said, okay, not right now. Nothing wrong with that, okay? I would like you to show them the toenail clippers. Give a treat. Show it again, give a treat. In these first 3 weeks, if you don't have to, I don't think I'd do any toenail clipping, okay? But I would start introducing the tools that you're going to use in your lifetime to your dog. I want you to keep a routine. Now, I don't mean rigid, and some people are, and that's okay, and some people are not, but still everybody has a routine, no matter how tight or kind of loose it is. There's a routine. If you actually wrote down what you did during the day, when you feed, when they go outside, what you do, when you get up first, you go to the bathroom first, then you go and let your dog out. Dogs will learn all that. And over these next 3 weeks, it'll become very routine for them, so they are learning what to expect, and that it's kind of always the same. If they are engaging in a behavior that you don't prefer, then there's a couple things. One, you can redirect. So let's say they went to go chew on a shoe if you left it on the floor. Take over a chew bone and give it to them. Take the shoe. Redirect. Can't have this, sweetheart, but you can have this, okay? If they've gotten on a piece of furniture, which they shouldn't have access to rooms you don't want them in, but then if you still have them on leash, which I kind of recommend, then you can gently guide them off and to their bed and give them a treat there or give them a chew bone there. Make it worth their while to be on their bed, not your couch. Kind of think I'd like to make this real for you. And the reason that I'm making this whole series is because, as I stated before, in the past 5 months, I've had 2 foster dogs with me, breed dogs. One came from a fairly reputable breeder, but still didn't live in a house like a normal dog. The second one, we don't know a lot of information, was kept in a pen. So for both of them, but for Avery especially, normal house sounds were scary, okay? So they'd hear something go, and just stop and chill, okay? I just waited for it to pass and the dog to say, didn't eat me or didn't kill me, okay? Expect that that's going to happen if you've brought a dog in that has never been exposed to those things. What I learned about Avery, just through trial and error, is that he wanted to eat from a plate or the floor, not a bowl. Okay, I just accommodated him. I need him to eat. So, I've learned that with him that he wasn't going to be approaching me head on, nor did he want anybody to come toward him and pet him. That wasn't his way. His way was to just kind of circle around and come up behind me and put his nose right by the back of my leg. So he'd come from behind and I could reach down and pet. Then he progressed to where he would come from behind and come up along my side. So it happened, and I let it happen the way it was comfortable for him. So that what he learned was, through all of this, he could trust me. If he said I'm uncomfortable and walked away, he walked away. I didn't go after him, and he learned he could come back. So that's big, that's real big. He learned that, I learned that it was more comfortable if I sat on the floor for him and he could come and approach me. Okay, so if you can get on the floor, that's good. If you have to sit in a chair or an ottoman, That's perfectly fine too. It took 2 weeks for him to take a treat from my hand. Okay, I had to drop it on the floor in order for him to take it. When I had Duke here for a couple weeks, he didn't know how to do stairs. So I have a walkout ranch, and the dogs go out there to go to the bathroom. Well, clearly all my dogs came up with me, and I'm up in the kitchen. And Duke is down there really wanting to be with us. He really did want to be with people. He didn't know how to do stairs. So I've taught that in other videos a little bit, but you know, it's Hansel and Gretel. I put a treat on the step, and then the next one. I sat about 4 up. He would come up there and reach as far as he could to take a treat, to let me pet him and go, oh, I don't think I can do those steps. He didn't know how. He didn't know how to lift his back legs and move up the steps. It took, I don't know, a couple days. He did it on his own. I didn't help him. So let those things happen as they happen. Try to acclimate, try to help them by doing that, by playing Hansel and Gretel, by making it worth their while to make the effort, and it will come in time. So I needed to teach Duke that he could do stairs. In addition to everything else. Brushing, taking treats, going to a bed, that kind of stuff. Going out in the yard to go potty. You, at this time, are learning about your dog as much as he is learning about you. It's a two-way street. It always is. So, with that, I would like to tell you the things I would wait till at least the end of the 3rd week and possibly into the 4th week before you do the next couple things. I would wait at least 3 weeks before I had people over to meet my new dog. And at that point, I would have people that are low-key and good with dogs and would follow directions as I asked them to, okay? And that means always letting the dog approach. Nobody gets to go invade my dog's space, period, okay? That's important. I've talked about it in several videos. It's important. If I had children in my house and family and they had friends over, I would certainly keep my dog safe, only introduce one at a time if they were the kind of child that can follow directions and is gentle and not overwhelming. The other thing that I would do is I would wait till at least the end of that 3rd week, if not into the next week, the 4th week, before I would take a dog out into the big wide world on a walk and introduce him to all those sights and sounds. Now, if you've introduced a dog that is just totally already well adjusted, you can modify those guidelines. As long as he's on a martingale collar and a harness and you think you can take him out, he's not a flight risk, yeah, sure. You could do that a little bit earlier in the process. Yeah. For a dog that is not used to the big wide world, I would wait. Okay, so that is about what we would do in the first 3 weeks. Next up, next video will be what are we looking at when we hit that 3-month mark and beyond. So I wouldn't do a lot of training in this 3-week period. No formal training. It's not necessary. This is all about the relationship. It's all about getting to know each other. It's all about establishing a routine. It's about getting accustomed to the life skills that your dog is going to need in your house. There's plenty of time for everything else after that. Till next time. Thanks.